Everyone ready?
Yeah, perfect.
Where is it? You're
Oh, I have it here. So when you want to speak, you speak here.
I speak here.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the tennis-related podcast. I have two guests this time. Your beloved, as you know, Petros
Have you ever
Petrakis.
had two guests in your podcast?
I never had two guests, actually.
It's the first podcast that two guests are. Three people are talking at the same time.
And our special guest for the day is Eliakim Coulibaly.
Hello, guys.
Did I say that right?
Of
The name?
course, yeah.
I did.
Eliakim Coulibaly.
Do you have a middle name? No.
Wilfried.
Wilfried.
Actually?
Yeah. Eliakim Coulibaly Wilfried.
Man, that's a sexy name.
Actually, my dad wanted to give me Wilfried Thuram because he loved Thuram, the French player,
Okay.
but he couldn't because Thuram is a family name, so they couldn't give it to me.
You grew up in Ivory Coast.
Yeah,
Cote
correct.
d'Ivoire, if
Correct.
I'm not mistaken. And you started playing tennis when?
At the age of 6.
6
I
years
started
old.
playing tennis, yeah. Because my dad was a coach in a club
Okay.
called Athletic Club, which
Okay.
was like 15 minutes away from my house.
Okay.
So I was going there almost every time. First, I started going to the club because I wanted to spend some time with my dad, you know, and that's how I started. I picked up my first racket, and I loved it.
Is tennis a sport that people in Cote d'Ivoire play, or?
I mean, yeah,
I know you have a lot of footballers.
yeah, we have a lot of footballers like that. Is basically in Africa. You have
Yeah.
a lot of footballers, but tennis, honestly, not many people. People are more focused on football. You know, tennis is not that developed there, but you get a lot of like most of the rich guys, you know, because tennis is kind of the rich sport. You know, most of the rich guys play tennis. Yeah.
Okay. So for people who don't know Eliakim, you are currently ranked 263, or this is your career high? 263 is your career high?
my career high. Right now I'm ranked 280.
280. You won your first challenger last year in Abidjan,
Correct.
hometown.
Yeah, hometown. Yeah, first challenger, home. It was amazing, you know, it's
Yeah.
amazing feelings, you know, especially it's the first time that they organized, because actually back then, the first time they organized the two ITFs, I won both of them. So it's
Okay.
kind of like a crazy story that, you know, both big tournament that they organize in my country, I'm the one who wins it. You
Does that make you undefeated at home?
I cannot say that. You know, you always gotta be humble. But yeah, I've been doing pretty good at home.
Hard to be defeated.
Yeah, hard to be defeated at home.
Good. If I'm not mistaken, these tournaments are happening in 2 weeks from now. So you get to defend that title and play again in front of your own people. How does that make you feel, in a sense that obviously when you play at your the club you grew up playing at, there's a different aura coming with people supporting you and getting behind you when you play.
I mean, it's always overwhelming to have people, you know, like encouraging you. It's also tough, you know, because there's a lot of criticism, you know. And,
Pressure?
Pressure. A lot of people that criticize. You know, it's not easy, you know, to be playing at home. But you know, you that's what I was trying to do. You know, in the first week when I played, I lost in the first round. It was not that easy, you know, because I was always like stressing and all that because of the crowd, always thinking of what they were gonna say, you know, seeing me play. But in the second week, like I turned it to a positive way. I didn't care anymore, you know, not caring about what they were thinking. I was just trying to take the positive energy from them and trusting myself, and the rest was magic. I won, and yeah, the first challenger, it was good. I mean, it was my first title, and I was really happy, and I hope I can do that again. Why not?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're currently here in Athens. We're at Ivory Club. I asked you before, outside of camera, that you haven't been here. What is your connection with Petros here?
I mean, Petros, you know, he's like my brother. You know, he's my brother. You know, I always knew Petros in the academy. First when I arrived, you know, in 2020. You know, I've met him because he was staying there with his brother and his family. You know, I met him, and we really connect. He was also my former coach, Chris Kupri, was coaching him at the time. You know, so we were doing some tournaments together, and he clicked. You know, since then we've been friends.
So that happened during COVID. 2020 during COVID.
End of COVID. You know, because I went there to play.
Spend COVID there? No.
I did not spend COVID there because I went there to play Roland Garros. You know, that's how I got connected with Mary Pierce, and I got to the academy, and that's why I met the Petros, my beloved brother.
Yeah, we practiced a lot together, me and Eliakim. And he was also always the kind of guy at the academy who you would really have a good practice session with, because he would really push hard, you know, and grind. So with him it would always be extremely intense to practice and super good for me as well, because I would improve like this, you know.
He's intense. He's intense. I saw you guys hit. He's intense.
On the tour, for sure.
Intense, yeah.
He's really intense, and I think that's what gives him the aura. You know, like when you go inside the court with him, it's tough to fight harder than him, because he will always try to fight harder than you.
Did that happen like progressively as you grew up? Like, because obviously you come from a country that people don't play tennis. There's no tradition in tennis. I'm not saying that Greece we're like traditionally tennis players, but there's a lot of people playing tennis in Greece, even recreationally, not just professionally. Do you feel like that contributed into your fighting spirit?
Yeah, it's always you know, when you come from the bottom, you know, coming from a family that is not rich, you know, a family from a tough background, we can say, you know. I've been alone since I was 13, you know. Since I was 13, I left my house, you know, I spent 5 years in Casablanca in the ITF Center.
Morocco. Okay.
That's why I met your former friend Ismail Sadi, you know, shout out to my guy Ismail, you know, that's why I met him. And you know, I was there, you know, alone. You know, it's always been tough. So I think I take that energy from my family, because I do it also for them. You know, I do it for them. I love the sport, obviously, but I do it for them to be able to make it and help them, you know, help their situation. I also do it for the continent, you know, because there aren't many African players.
You're the #1 African player on tour now.
#1 black, we can say. Sorry for that. Moez is #1.
Who is?
Moez is #1.
Ah, Sarwi.
Shaggy
is #2.
Who is #1. I'm honored, you know, to be #2, you know, to be there. You know, it's not easy, you know, being among #2 is always like a good feelings, you know. It's always a good feelings, you know. So that's why we're working hard every day. But I can say that also for my dad, because my dad is pretty intense. You know, when I was small, I used to work very hard, running in the beach all the time. You know, he was always pushing me. It was always tough for me. You know, sometimes I would cry. You know, sometimes I would cry. It would be tough on me. He would put my legs on the wall. You know, it was really tough, because he wanted me to also make it, but also be a man. You know, he wanted to give me values. You understand what I mean? And yeah, I'm really grateful, and you can see that's why when I'm on court, you know, I try to bring the energy. And also watching Rafael Nadal, you know, he was really he's a big mentor for me. Like watching him play with the energy that he gives, you know, I always trying to put in the work, you know, because without energy, you know, there's nothing. You know, so that's where that's coming from.
So from what I'm getting, you said you left your home when you were 13. You moved to Casablanca. You stayed there for 5-6 years.
5 years.
And then you moved to South France at Muratoglu Tennis Academy. Tell me a little bit about the story. So first, how tough was it, like as a 13-year-old? No, as an 11-year-old kid. 13-year-old kid moving away from home, and Casablanca. Actually, it's not that far from
4 hours
Ivory
flight.
Coast. Oh, it is 5 hours.
4 hours flight.
Okay, it's far. And then how when you get used to a place, because you know when you move to a place, it takes some time to get used to, and then you get the call that you have to go to the Muratoglu, the south of France, which is a completely different culture. Tell me a little bit about the story.
But yeah, it was, first of all, I was 13. You know, like when I started, like I moved to Morocco was because of the director. Because the ITF had like two ITF centers, one in Kenya and one in Morocco. So there was the director of the Moroccan center that saw that potential in me, and he gave me the chance. So at 13 I moved. It was not that easy. Really difficult, you know, moving away at 13 years old, because in Europe you don't find many kids leaving the family at 13 years old to another country. I don't think it's even possible, you know, to do that. You know what I'm saying? So moving, you know, my mom was pretty sad, crying all the time, calling me. And my dad, you know, he was always trying to be tough. The guy always tough, you know. Dads, you know, basically they're always the tough ones, you know. Like, you know, the mothers are more softer, you know. But moving there was not easy, because you had to get used to the culture. You know, it's a Morocco is an Arab country, different culture. You know, I'm Christian, Muslim. You know, it's a different aspect. You know, and it was not that easy. But what I was lucky is that in the center there were like 2 other Ivorian guys that were there. You know, his big brother knows one of the Ivorian. They played together doubles. You know, in Casablanca when his big brother was going to play. So there was 2 big brother. The guy was named Abdul, and another one of my best friend now, Cyril. There were 2 guys there, you know, like that were Ivorian. You know, like it's not like you're going alone to a country where you don't know. You know, you had 2 guys there.
It's very important
that you know from your country that were there before you, so they can teach you the way, they can be there for you. You know, like we were like the good thing about Morocco is that we were all like a family, because there were other African players too. They were like the Moroccans, Ismail. They were like the Tunisian. So it was like a big small family, you know. But that's what helped. It was not that easy, you know. That what helped. So I spent and it's not like I was staying there. I stayed there for 5 years straight. Like almost like every 1 year or every 2 years I was going back home. You know, but not really often, because sometimes it was tough for my family to get the ticket flight for me back. So I was kind of staying there to train, and so I could be able to just be there, you know, and live. And it was very difficult, very difficult, really hard times. But you know, it's the sacrifice that you make, you know, in life. And I'm really grateful that I got to experience that, because if I didn't experience that, I wouldn't be the man that I am today, with the experience and with the values that I have. You know, sometimes in life you have to go through things, so it sharpens you to be another person. And after that, when I was 18, because I got to my best junior ranking, I was like 16 in the world.
Okay.
You know, I was supposed to play all the Grand Slam, and then COVID happened, which messed up my year, because I was supposed to play all the Grand Slam, you know. And that's how I moved to Morocco, because of Mary Pace. Okay. You know, during COVID in the academy, we used to have like video calls with like champions, African champions like Younes El Nawi, and that's where Mary came in, and then we were asking questions, and I asked her a question that I don't remember, and she was like, it really touched her heart, and she was like, who's that boy? Because she had a project of helping like one African player, you know, because she was like in Mauritius. She was taking care of like Amory Debier.
Yes.
Yeah, she was at the academy before with Amory Debier. Petros knew that, and yeah, that's how I got in. And she was like, okay, I will help this boy. You know, that's
so
how
she brought you to the academy.
Yeah, she brought me to the academy, and that's how I moved to Mouratoglou.
So it was really like random. It's not like something was planned.
She never saw me play.
Wow.
I guess I was lucky. I was kind of lucky, you know. That was my luck, and I kind of like went to the academy, and I played the French Open that happened in November. I don't know. There was a year. You remember?
Yeah.
They
and
put a different lifetime. Yes.
Yeah. So that I played that one, and then after I stayed there until today. I'm in the south of France.
Well, how is life there in the academy? Because I know with them sometimes, you know, I haven't been to the academy ever, but I've seen some vlogs that you guys were filming back then, so I kind of have an idea of how what's going on. But how is life in a tennis academy that you're just based there? Because it's not like you live in like Nice or in Monte Carlo and you go there and train. You live in the academy.
Back then it was amazing, huh? There were so many players.
So many players back there.
It was him, me, it was Donsky, Lajal, Mark, it was Christian Tam,
Ionel.
It was a lot of players, yes.
David Ionel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we were all practicing against each other. So it was a very competitive environment. And everybody was kind of pushing to be better and better. Whether right now, I think academy misses that part a little bit. Not many players as they used to be back then. But I guess this is also, you know, it can be random.
I think it's part of a development of the tennis centers at the same time too, because I think back then it was just the Mouratoglou Tennis Academy, and he was pushing like players to like play good tennis. Now it's more like of a global brand.
Yeah.
It's expanding. Like now they're gonna have one here. They have one in Kuwait.
Yes.
They have one in
Egypt.
Egypt. Like they have one in Dubai. Like you know, I think they're just expanding the brand.
Yeah.
And I just don't think Patrick himself has the time dedicated to the profession, the projects, the prospects.
I don't know. I mean, they have the Champ Seed guys, you know, but us that are playing on tour, like
Champ Seed is a foundation that helps players to get sponsorships and pursue their dreams on the tour. It's like a
So
foundation. that
Museti was part of it. Stefanos, no?
Stefan was
No,
part of it.
Mikhail Alaki?
Kokugov,
Yeah.
Mikhail Alaki,
Yes,
yeah,
okay,
you know.
okay.
Yeah, everybody was part of it, but us were kind of like on the side because also I had like one lady that was helping me.
Okay.
Yeah, but a different lady, like not with the Chemseed, affiliated with the Chemseed. It was a different foundation called the Astra Foundation.
Okay.
That she's been helping me for like the past 4 years now since I was there, but not anymore now because now I'm by myself trying to find my ways.
Okay.
But yeah, she was helping me and it was good. You know, I could train there. I could travel. You know, and it was with Petros. But now there aren't many match players anymore. Everybody left. I think everybody found their way. You know.
Yeah.
So now, like when you're like based now, you still live inside the academy.
Yeah, I rent my apartment. I have an apartment that I rent
Okay,
every
so
month.
does that work as you pay the rent and then you pay the practice, or is it more like you're still like sponsored?
No,
sort of?
before I was kind of like the lady was helping me, but it's been a couple of months now. Now she's not helping anymore, But so right now I'm paying my rent. I'm paying my rent there, but I can use the facility. That is amazing,
Okay.
So I don't have a coach at the moment, but
Okay.
I can use the facility, which is great because I've been here for like 5 years.
Okay.
And they are helping me in that way, like to use the facility and train. I think that
It's the same with me.
That's the best I can do,
Whenever I
you know.
want to go and have a practice
Yeah.
there, I can practice. They put me in the schedule of the team.
Can you use the coaches and the trainers?
I can use I can use the coaches and the trainer,
use the fitness coaches.
The fitness coach. So that is pretty amazing,
Yeah, actually, good setup. It's a good setup.
Shout out to the Muratoglu Tennis Academy.
I want to have Patrick on the podcast. I was speaking with his team actually at some point.
Yeah.
We were exchanging emails.
Yeah.
And we go to a point that we're saying, maybe we can plan the date, but obviously he's like super busy.
I think he's busy, man.
Yeah.
He will eventually move here, so it will be.
He's already moved. He plays at another club in 91.
Ah, really?
Yeah, he lives around the area of Glifava.
Okay.
And I saw him there, so I said hi, just casually, and then I sent him like a text. And I spoke with his team, but then Stefan told me, if you really want to do it, just tell me to give.
Yeah.
So Steph can give me his number, so I can actually.
Really nice. I think he's gonna.
I hope he does it. I hope he does it.
I think
it's nice. It's good. It's good feedback, and it's good for Greek tennis as well because
He's a really nice person.
he's seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
You spoke a little bit about the financial situation, how you've been helped. I don't know if you want to discuss anything about money. It's just because generally they say that people who are inside the top 200 they get to be self-sustained and make some money, but that's with playing club matches. That's not with just prize money.
I mean, financially right now is difficult. It's been difficult for like almost, 2 years I can say, because you don't earn that much. For people that don't know tennis, you only earn money when you are starting to play like the qualies of the Grand Slam. That's where you can make a bit of it, and when you're top 100, that's when you can make you're starting to enjoy tennis. But outside that, tennis is really difficult. It requires a lot of money, to have a coach, that coaches are getting paid weekly. That's crazy. You gotta pay your trip, you gotta pay the practice. Sometimes you pay players that are playing futures, players that are between the transition challengers and futures like me. It's difficult. Challenges is good, because you don't get to pay the accommodation.
Yeah.
You can practice. It's great facilities.
Yeah.
But the 25 and the 15s, they're tough, because you only spend money. Because like recently I went to Monastery. I remember like where we were there, where I played
When you won the tournament?
Yeah, when I won the tournament.
You made some plus.
Yeah,
No.
the money that I won, I only got like 800 plus.
Really?
Yeah, the rest, the
Everything
coach,
was
I paid
expenses.
Expenses.
Wow.
It's not easy.
It's not.
800 plus, but you mean that the ticket flight that you have to go back, the ticket flight. So it's every prize money that goes. The money that you earn, you give it to your expenses.
You gotta invest again, because then say even if you're 800 plus on a week. The following week you're gonna have to fly somewhere, play, and then fly back.
So it's not easy. So financially, it's been really tough for me. Honestly, like it's been really tough. But you just gotta.
You also learn how to kind of compensate your spendings, and you're very careful with everything.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a bit of a hassle. Because you're still a great player, you're 260 in the world, and people would think, this guy's comfortable, he can have sponsorships, he can have people help him out, but there is a big majority of players that they don't get this help that other people think.
It's true.
And they really have to hustle it out, with the spendings.
Yeah.
I mean, in my case, I've experienced this making money from tennis through doubles because I got to 70 in the world. But even with doubles, I guess it's a bit easier as well because there's not so many things to think about besides just traveling and playing week by week. You don't really need a coach as well. You don't really need the base. If you figure it out in doubles a certain way, it's much easier than singles.
Yeah.
I think in singles, when you're 200, 300, and you try to make it and have the breakthrough to the ATP Tour, to play the qualies of the slams consistently, you need to sacrifice a lot and you need to spend a lot of money and invest a lot in that in order to gain some improvement, to feel the improvement that you're going through.
And it's true that sometimes you spend, but he's not sure that you're gonna gain.
Yeah. True.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So sometimes you can spend and you might be losing, but you gotta put all the chances on your side. So it's by investing in your tennis. Then that's what I'm trying to do. Investing in my tennis. Last week I went to Croatia. It was 600 the ticket flight just to go.
Yeah.
And right now I came back here to Athens, like 500 ticket flight. It's like tomorrow I'm going to Heraklion, it's like 200, the ticket flight. So it's just that, you gotta expend, you gotta, like you said earlier, you gotta put money, you gotta invest, in your career,
The problem, I think there's one problem with tennis, which is the expenses. And as you guys both said, it's almost impossible to limit those expenses because let's say at the level that you're playing right now, like you're inside the top 300, for you it doesn't make sense to play 15Ks. Yeah. So what happens is now your schedule is, as we were talking off camera, you're gonna play 25K Heraklion, then 25 in Monastir, and then 2 weeks at home in Abidjan. So for you, where this transition, it's not like you could have played just 25, then 15 Heraklion, and then go play at home. You gotta travel to the 25s.
Always.
So even though you were higher ranked than some people who can just stick at the same place, because I'm not saying staying maybe in the resort, but if you find a B&B apartment, and you stay there for 3 weeks, you don't have to travel, pay all those extra expenses.
For sure.
If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, definitely. You always gotta move, because actually, for me right now, I'm trying to play more challenges than 15s.
It makes sense.
What I'm saying? Because financially it's much better.
Yeah.
And you earn a bit of money, and it's more points. You understand what I mean? If you play good.
And better conditions.
And better conditions.
Yeah.
You understand? So for me, it's like playing more challenges. For me, is the best. So, and that's what I'm gonna do in the next couple of weeks. Playing more. After Abidjan, I'm going to Brazzaville. After Brazzaville, I might go to Tunisia.
Brazzaville is Congo.
Yeah, Congo straight to Brazzaville on clay. After I'm going to Tunisia, I gotta keep playing. Because as you know, as tennis players, we don't even have much weeks to be sitting at home and chilling. We always gotta be playing, moving, because every week is different. And we never know, what can happen. So I'm trying to put as long as I can travel and play, and as long as I'm healthy, just trying to travel and play as much as possible and trying to give everything.
You look healthy. You look very healthy. I was gonna say.
I've been injured a couple of times, not big injuries, but I've been having really small one that are annoying for 1 month, 2 months, but it's just all about learning, knowing your body. I think that I invested my time in knowing, my body, knowing what I need to do, because this is really important, the healthy side.
In the academy, there was you were not lucky, I would say, but you were blessed because the fitness coaches there, especially Fred, I spoke to him about you. He saw your physical potential because you're physically very gifted. You're very strong, very explosive. And I feel like in the academy, you spent a very good amount of time solely focusing on that, exploiting that physicality that God has given you, instead of actually making your body more strong with weights and heavier. Because that's the mistake of a lot of players. What they do when they have your kind of body type, they try to put more mass, more muscle, and that's actually a mistake. And in your case, your body is built exactly the right way in order to be sustainable for tennis.
It's true.
Which is very, very good, I think.
Let's put Petros in this conversation as well, because I want to talk about Grand Slams. You're inside the top 300, career high 260. The Grand Slam cutoff is around 220.
Yeah.
215 to 20. So you're flirting with playing the qualities of a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
What is this next step? Because even though it's only 50 or 60 spots in the ranking, that's still a lot of points. It's like probably 75 points, probably.
Yeah,
it's like
75 AE.
It's like a full challenger. So what is it going to take, and how do you have it structured in your head in the next few months, or in the next half, the second half of the year, that will get you to play on those Grand Slams?
I mean, I spoke with Petros yesterday. We were walking, we were walking. He was showing me attendance. I told him, bro, I feel like I'm going to play the Grand Slam. I'm going to play Grand Slam this year. And I told him, like, I don't know which one is it, but I don't want to put pressure. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to be thinking, because the difference that before, I was like, when I was 260, I was running up to play like US Open and all that, and I was always thinking about the ranking, checking the points, checking the rankings all the time, and I feel like that doesn't help me, you know, because it just has more pressure.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel like you gotta focus on yourself, focus on day by day, you know, every match, you know, on your level, because if you improve and you have the right level, you know, you reach out the level, but you need to play the right certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like improving, you know, every day. And I think that's gonna get you to win matches, to win tournaments. You know. So I think what I'm trying to do right now is to only not think too much. You know, just take every tournament as it comes. You know, try to do my best in every tournament. And if I have to play the Grand Slam, I will play. If I don't have to play, I won't play, and I will try to do it again and again, because I'm 23. I'm young. Yeah. I'm not young for some people, but I'm young. I have a couple of years again to still play tennis, and I know that I have the potential to do it. Many people have told me, you know, Medvedev has told me, Bublik has told me, Stefanos has told me, you know, many people have told me I have the capacity to be like top, but I just need to get that momentum and that switch to be able to do it. So I'm kind of like, you know, I want to do it. It's not like I don't have it in my mind, like I want to play Grand Slam, but it just depends of how I want and which way I want to do it, you know. Yeah. And if it has to be Roland Garros, it will be. If it has to be Wimbledon, if it has to be US Open, it will be. But I would just take it at a time, you know, instead of like just focusing on the ranking all the time. Oh, how many points do I get? Oh, I need to defend, and you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
That's a very tricky situation that many players get into when they're coming closer and closer to that specific, you know, ranking. Like they enter the 300s, 350s. I've seen many players getting into that compulsive behavior of thinking about points and thinking, oh, I need this amount of points from that tournament and I need to play every week in order to have bigger chances to qualify. And I feel like that's not the right approach, and definitely Eliakim here is right. You kind of need to take it step by step, you know, focus on your game. If your game is good enough, you're gonna get there, and I'm pretty sure Eliakim, you know, has the right mindset to do it. So I think you're on the right track for it.
I want to ask you, that you've been in the Grand Slams. I've been with you in some of them too, for training too, but can you like explain to people who are watching this, what is like the main difference that you'd say the people who are on the edge of making the Grand Slams to the people who are not making it? What's that small separation?
Sometimes there aren't even differences, you know. I guess for some players it just happens. They are very smart with their scheduling, and they know where they can play well and where they can't. So they try to avoid the places and the tournaments that they actually don't see benefits of playing them. That's also experience. I feel like the more tournaments you play and the more years pass, you know what works for you and what doesn't. In your case, you know what works for you well, and you try to play this kind of tournaments and this kind of conditions. And in the end, you just need to show up and, you know, be focused, play your tennis. And I feel like when you play your tennis, you increase your chances to win those kind of tournaments that you feel well playing. So I think that's the biggest thing out there, is that having the experience, knowing your game and actually going for the right tournaments is the key to entering the slams. And then once you enter the slams and you're consistently there, it's all about knowing how to use things in your advantages when you play and be calm with yourself, you know. Let's say it's pressure moments, it's situations where pressure really hits. You go for what makes sense, you know. And I've seen a lot of players in futures doing crazy stuff, man. Like, it's a quarterfinal match. You see the guys playing the whole match well, balanced, doing the right thing, and then at 3-all in the third set, he decides to do something else, where you know, you don't have to do.
I've seen you do some crazy stuff too.
I do this kind of crazy stuff as well. And that's the whole separation, I feel like. I believe that nowadays everybody has the level to play top 300, top 200 tennis. Like a lot of guys in the top 1,000 have a really good level. And you agree with me, right?
I do. Everybody, man.
Yeah, everybody can play.
Everybody can play tennis.
Yeah, especially in practice.
Everybody can play. Every match is a match. You know, that's what people don't tend to understand.
Yes.
Because I mean, last week I lost to a guy who was like 900 junior, Vasilev, who was pretty good.
Bulgaria,
you know? Yeah, Bulgarian was pretty good. I mean, the conditions were horrible, but that's not an excuse, you know, but the condition worked for him. And you get people like messaging me, how could you lose to a 900 player? But people don't understand that tennis is a very different sport that everybody can play, and you gotta respect every player, and that's what I do, you know. I respect everybody.
You mean people as in your friends or haters online?
You got haters online, you know, that send you messages, you know, like insulting you and all that, but they don't understand, you know, that we have a life, and everybody, you know, tomorrow you could lose to a 700 or 800, and tomorrow you can beat a guy who's like 150, or you can beat a guy who's top 100. You know, it just changes.
So especially nowadays, the last 10 years, man, you see so often that the guy who is 600 goes to play a guy who's 200, 150, and he's even beating him 2 sets. It can happen.
Yeah. You know,
and everybody can also play bad. Like, I've seen ATP matches that both of the players are really struggling to hold it together and put 3-4 balls inside the court. So tennis is a really tricky sport when it comes to that. It's not, there's many things out of your control that you have to adjust and to somehow make it work that you don't get to see in other sports, and that's the big difference.
Yeah. You played, you talked about these results. We were following him in one tournament. You beat someone like on a big challenger event. You beat someone who was really...
Alice.
You beat Alice, yes. Who was what, top 50, 60, something like that.
Yeah.
And then the next round...
I lost.
Yeah.
Love to Bonzi.
But he played, so you see...
And Bonzi is also top 100.
Yes. Yeah. So he played two top 100 guys back to back. I mean, it's crazy. You played pretty good against Halis for sure. I mean, this guy to beat in indoors,
it was good.
For me it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's
and I
one
wanted
of the
that match
toughest.
so badly.
Yeah.
I wanted to beat him so badly.
And then you had to play the next.
Why you want?
That was personal reason, but I wanted to win because I had the fire to win. Because I feel like when I started coming in challenges in the beginning in France, you know, you are black, you come in like just looking down on you, like, what is this guy doing? Because every time it was like all the guys that are playing, you know, all of them that are playing, you know, back to back, they know their ranking, like 150, 250, you know, the youngest French guy coming in, they just see a guy who is coming from Africa, they kind of look down on you, you know what I'm saying, like, who is this guy? And that kind of like made me, I was like, first I was always telling like one of my close friends, like, I don't belong in challenges, like, what am I doing here? You know, I feel alone, I feel lonely, you know, like, I feel like I don't have the level. But after, you know, believing it became like a fire, you know. Now that I'm going to the French tournament and the French challenge, I'm like, yeah, I belong here, man. You know, like I belong. So, you know, I built that kind of confidence to be in challenges, because the transition from futures to challenges is not that easy.
It's tough.
It's tough,
it's
man.
Really
because
tough.
you get guys that you come, you know, it's another condition. It's new balls. It's like it's indoors. You get guys that are playing that are top 100. You know,
you get to play,
and it's not even the same professionalism.
Yeah.
Because you get guys in futures that are doing shit. They're drinking the night before. They play tennis that you're supposed to play cross. They go down the line. Yeah. It's like, it's not like sometimes not making sense. And I'm not. You know, it's not making sense. I'm not insulting the futures player. I've been from there, and I'm a future player. You know. every player, you know, I respect every player, but futures, you know, the same. You get guys that they are with girls, you know, they are doing a lot of, you know, funny stuff, you know.
Yeah,
but
I feel like when you're in the futures level and you're stuck there, you lose a bit of the professionalism,
Yes.
I guess. And I felt that with me as well. The moment I started playing more futures, like singles in that regard, in my case, I kind of struggled to be the same, to bring out the same consistency and discipline than I used to.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you cannot control that and you're stuck there for 3-4 years, Eliakim is right. You get to see a lot of players that are, let's say, tourists that
Yeah.
No, it's
they're
true. We
playing.
use that term a
They're
lot.
still playing very well, but they're not doing the things that a professional player has to do daily.
Yeah.
And you see them, and you get kind of confused because you play them, and you're doing the right things to be there, but you feel like they don't really care. And sometimes because they don't care, they can produce also insane level of tennis, and you can lose to them, and it can frustrate you even more. Yeah.
And you go to challenges, guys in challenge, man, it's rare that I've been to a challenger, I see guys screaming like in futures, you know, missing a ball and they're screaming, you know, shouting, breaking rackets, you know, challenges, everybody is quiet and nobody cares about you.
Legit.
They said in challenges, nobody cares about you. People are there professional, they do their own stuff. You know, you go to challenges, man, you won't see a guy like coming, hey man, how are you doing? You know, like in futures, you know, you laugh, you know, everybody is focused, you know, on their own thing, you know, so it's kind of like different, you know.
To them, it's a job though. Like in challengers,
It's a job because
they play well. It's a full-time
it's
job.
the ATP that takes care of you.
I feel like they also know that they're a step further of entering ATP, so they see it as a big opportunity for them to make it, you know, to make it work. And I think also in the Challenger Tour, the big difference with futures is that in Challengers you see more aggressive players than you do in futures because of the conditions. The conditions are better, newer balls. It's more effective to play aggressive tennis as well.
Yeah.
I mean, in futures, you see sometimes aggressive players, but they actually tend to struggle more than the grinders, let's say. Like in futures,
100%.
you need to be more of a consistent player and make a lot of balls and be physically strong to outplay your opponent this way. Whether in challengers, you actually see guys serving better, playing the first ball after the serve better. And that's where also, when you're coming from futures, you're like, oh, I have to adjust to that, and it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I'm following, you know, Carousel.
Yeah, Carousel.
Yeah, I'm following
He's not
him.
playing, stop playing, no?
He stopped playing now, which is crazy. But
That guy is insane. I love the way he plays.
he said one thing in one of his videos that basically he said if you want to get out of the futures, you just need to be consistent, be fit, so you can produce the same amount of physical tennis level every day. And he said if you're consistent with it and you have a decent game, you're going to get out of the futures. But then he said when you reach to challengers, then it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
Different ball game.
That's why in futures you need to be still able to be aggressive, you know, and not kind of like pushing, because you go to Monastery, man, you get guys that are only playing there, you know, and the conditions are so slow, windy
day
I mean,
in Monastery.
you gotta adjust, but you get guys that, you know, that in challenges, if they come to challenges and play you, you know, you give them 2 sets, but it's because of the condition there, you know, you can get your ass kicked, you know. So like, I feel like challenges tennis and challenges of tennis gives you what happens in the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like prepare you for the Grand Slam. You know, because in challenges you get guys that, man, they can do everything. They can be solid. They can attack. You know, it structures your game. You know, to the Grand Slam. You know, but futures, you know, it's kind of like, yeah,
anything. It's
anything. You never know. You never know.
Anything.
You know,
hack and hope, as we call it in the US.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, so you said that obviously one of your main goals, maybe this year too, is to play in the qualies of a Grand Slams, and you're working on your game towards that goal. As an aspiration, because you grew up as a kid loving tennis, you had to move away from family, away from home. What is the ultimate like tennis goal that you say, like when you reach that ranking, then you go home at some point and you're like seeing yourself in the mirror and you say, damn, we made it?
Man, I don't know, bro. I just like about, like I always say, the limit is, there's no limit, man. The limit is the sky, you know. Like for me, it's like getting to the top 100, you know, getting to the top 100, being able to play those tournaments. And I don't set myself a limit. You know, you can go, you can go further as I want. It depends of what God has written for me, what I want to do, you know. But for me, there's no limit. If tomorrow I'm top 50, if tomorrow I'm top 20, it's just like about enjoying, you know, enjoying the journey, enjoying the battle on court, you know, because you know, it's like sometimes you get people that reached the goal and they are not happy anymore.
I know a lot of people like that.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Actually, TM spoke about it. I mean, he won a slam and he thought that internally it's gonna fulfill him as a professional tennis player, and then he came out on an interview and said that it actually didn't do that at all, and he felt nothing.
Yeah.
And he understood that it actually it's something completely different to what a human should feel daily. And that's where sports, you know, sometimes they kick in differently from what you expect them to kick when you make it somewhere that you desire.
Yeah.
So I agree with Eliakim. You just need to enjoy the process, the journey, to find a way that you will actually be happy staying there for 10, 15 years and making the best out of it.
obviously reaching your goal that you set yourself, but
Ranking-wise, it's also tricky because if you say, I want to be top 50 and then you get to top 50, that means you can be top 30.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know.
you see players that were top 30 that tennis-wise, you see them hitting a ball and they're not like anything impressive. So I feel like the mental capacity to reach certain milestones in tennis are made for almost many players, and yeah, you just gotta stick to the process and find your way to make it there.
yeah.
I have two examples with that. So, number one example is a personal one, which is in a sense that when you're living it, you don't really appreciate it, but then when it goes by, it's more like you understand what went through. So for me, the first one is a personal example. Last year, like around this time, we played Davis Cup.
Yes.
And I played like the first match that opened up, a singles match opened up the Davis Cup tie against Egypt. So I played against Safwat.
Okay.
Great player, you know. Me, like I was there to play doubles with Petros because we won some tournaments, some futures back then. And like, you know, one thing brought the other. One person got injured, the other one had some stomach issues. He couldn't play, so that threw me out there to play, you know. And then at the time I was thinking, oh, so much stress, like how am I gonna handle this? How am I gonna play this match? And then the match finished. I was feeling empty because I wasn't able to get through. I lost the match, even though we won the tie. I lost that match. And now it's 1 year later. You know how your like Instagram or TikTok, they bring the memories. And I watched that and I'm like, whoa, what did I get to live last year around this time? That back then I was sad. You remember?
Yeah,
I was sad back
I
then.
assume for you to play a tie for singles, if you look back yourself 2 years ago, you wouldn't really expect it, right?
No,
So
no.
you see, like, just because you thought your way through it, you managed to win some tournaments in doubles and get your ranking in order to qualify for the Davis Cup. You got to experience even something more unexpected. And in my case, it was the same with Olympic Games.
That's the second example I was gonna say. I was gonna talk about.
I mean, I was there only for the doubles, and then out of nowhere, because players pulled out from the singles, and the rule there says that if a singles player pulls out, then a doubles guy takes his spot, and that was the case for me. Out of nowhere, a last singles player pulled out, and I was the last doubles guy to get in, and I got to experience even the singles part of Olympic Games, which for me I would not even imagine it.
Yeah.
So things like that can happen in tennis with results, with
Man.
you can win tournaments when you don't expect it.
But I mean, most of the results
Come like this.
Unexpected.
And Mona, see what happened when I won the tournament. I was playing the whole tournament with what? One racket.
Yes.
I told him.
What do you mean one racket?
I told him at the end of our match.
Yes,
Yeah, I won the tournament with one racket. I told him at the end of the match. I told him, bro.
Best ever. Do you still have the racket?
Huh?
Do you still have the racket?
I think it's in my house.
But you had to bring this racket. This is the winner's racket.
He told me. I was like, at the end of the match, you remember?
Yeah.
It was like good luck. I was like, bro, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Like,
you know, the funny thing is that after he beat me, I was sure he's gonna win because I don't know. I had the feeling inside me, and then I checked the results 3 days later. On a Monday, and you beat everyone 1 and 2, 2 and 2.
Yeah.
But
2 and 2.
how did you play with?
Yes.
What happened with the one racket? Why you had one racket?
because I came with 4 rackets, but everything since it was so windy and stuff, the racket used to slip out of my hand, and I broke 3 like that. Serving.
No.
Yeah. And I was stringing I was warming up with my racket, and I was going to string it before the match. So I played the whole match with one racket. Even during change of balls, I was playing with one racket. And I remember after a match, I was like, bro, I don't know. It was like, congrats. And we were talking, and I was like, bro, I have one racket. I don't know how I'm gonna. He was like, you can even win with one racket. What are you talking about? And he left.
Yeah.
And finally, I won with one racket. Yeah. So, and I feel like, and so many things happen like that because unexpected things. I feel like in tennis, when things are unexpected, that's where you win. When you don't expect. Look at that guy, Schwarzler. He was in which tournament did he make a final?
He won a challenger in.
But wait, before that tournament, he went to how we call that? He was playing. It was what's the name? And the tournament in Switzerland. Lugano. He played Lugano. He made final of Lugano. He was signed up in Rwanda, 1,500 altitude on clay. Flies from Lugano to Rwanda. Arrived the night before, plays the next day, wins 7-6, 7-6. He won the whole tournament.
I saw 8-8. He won 9 tie breaks in the whole tournament.
Yeah. And
he won every tie break.
Yeah, and he won the tournament.
Yes, I saw that.
Do you see that? That's how unexpected? Because normally in normal condition, if you tell somebody that knows the sport, you will be like, okay, he's not gonna win this tournament the next week. Because how do you go from indoor hard to clay courts?
Outdoor altitude.
Outdoor altitude 1,000. That is so strange in Rwanda, different condition, totally from Europe.
Yeah.
And you get to win 7-6, 7-6, and almost lost to Kola because Kola was 5-2 in the third set, serving.
Wow.
You see?
Let me ask you something. You were there, huh?
I was there.
How were the conditions there?
It was really difficult,
It was tough to return the ball, huh?
For sure, I'm not going there anymore because I went 2 years there.
Okay.
2 years in a row.
You didn't play very well?
No. I don't play.
Well, the thing is, this is
the
part that we discussed before. That's why experience matters. I guess when you play a lot of tournaments, especially in challengers, you know what suits you and then what doesn't.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of players that are ranked 150, 160, I will not mention names, but you see some guys that are there since like 8 years.
Yeah.
And they are playing these tournaments that they know that suits their game style, and they never live out of this ranking.
Can I say names? I can probably.
I mean,
I'm not on the tour.
Yes.
It's like the South American guys. They stay,
some of them, yes, some of them.
They camp in South America and they play like the altitudes and the slow clays.
Shout out to them. I'm not naming any player. I'm not saying anything about any player.
South Americans are a good example when it comes to that. I've also seen guys that entered top 50 this way because they had a good run in Buenos Aires, for example. They won there, and then they have Rio, which Rio as a 500 event is not very strong.
This year was a joke.
It's for a 500. It's definitely a chance for players to go and make points. Yeah. So you can do it this way as well. It's just that I feel like if you're stuck there, then you really have to mentally accept the fact that you will have to play a specific way, and that specific way doesn't work in the best level of the tour, which is the Masters, the big events. Because even French Open, in my opinion, it's clay court, but it's fast clay court. It's fast conditions. So if you're South American, it's not an advantage for you, in my opinion.
Well, there's obviously, for the people who are watching this, we're not saying that anyone like can go play some conditions, and when you need to have a very high
South America,
tennis
you
levels.
need to go to a South American play. It's not easy, huh?
It's not easy.
Oh,
to
I
do.
know.
You know
I'm
what
not
I'm saying?
touching those tournaments.
You know?
I never touch those
You know,
tournaments,
you
and I
need to go
never.
there. So you gotta respect those guys that are there and grinding, you know. But I feel like the challenges in Europe is a joke. They are so hard.
They're so strong. I know.
They are so strong.
I know.
Especially, I feel like in this period of like when it comes to
Before
end of August, beginning of September, and all that, because you get all those French guys. Some don't want to go to China.
Yes.
So you get those you get it. You know the 7 streaks, the Challenger 7 streaks in France, where you get Saint-Tropez, Cassis, and all that.
Yes, the summer.
It's insane.
Even now, they play in Naples now. I saw they drove in Naples.
It's insane.
It's stronger
It's
than the
insane.
250 in Casablanca
It's
and
insane.
I have a great story.
Bucharest.
It's
I
insane.
mean, this story probably many people know and they read it online. But Eliakim, you played Saint-Tropez this year, no?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, I played there with Layal. I played with Marc Layal. We played doubles there. And we lost to Bertrand and Kalyampur, I think. And Rob beat Bertrand that week.
He beat Vachon.
He beat Vachero first round.
Yeah.
And I remember Vachero, after that match, he was sitting with the coach and they were discussing probably if he wants to stay in Europe or go to China. And I think that match, after that match, he went to China. He was not even in qualis, right?
Yeah,
he was an
got
alternate.
last because he took the spot of Calvin.
So, yes.
Calvin was the one that was supposed to go.
He
Calvin
was
didn't
last
go.
in Shanghai, losing the week before first round to Bertrand.
Yeah.
And then he won the Masters, which is insane. If
And
you
then
think
now
about it.
he's untouchable.
Yes.
Now
Good.
it's crazy. I mean, he was always good, but now it's
always
crazy.
been
The confidence
because,
he carries.
No, the problem is that it's not about it. It's about that you need to take your chances.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the momentum. When you get that momentum, it's boom. That's what happened with him. He had the momentum, and every match he was beating, you were like, oh no, it's not possible that he's gonna win. This match is gonna be tough for him, and then he wins.
Yeah.
Then after, it's finished.
Yeah.
And now since then he's been doing very good results because, like I said, the level between those guys that are top 100, like the difference, like top 10, top 20, top 30, yeah, it's tough. But top 50, is not that much of a big difference. With players that are 300, 200, you know, top. So you know, if you have that capacity, you just need that. You just need that mental, you know, just mental switch.
Yes.
And that change that you take, and once you're inside, it's finished.
I feel like if he also has the game style, he has the aggressive game style, he has the serve, he's very
pretty good.
aggressive. He's fast, so he
It moves
plays
very well.
exactly. So he plays a way that's very sustainable for the top, you know, level, and that's why I believe aggressive tennis is always the solution when it comes to, you know, achieving great things in tennis.
Of course.
Especially with the serve.
Of course.
So for him, it's not that right now I see him as a top 30 player for the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. But the reason he still managed to show results after Shanghai is because of his game style.
His big game. Yeah, I agree on that. Well, boys, we've podcasted really well, I think. We've talked, like I didn't even look at the notes. We just talked.
Yeah, man,
That's
it's
the
all
best
about
way.
that. The best way.
We are not AI.
It's like there's no cameras, like there's nothing here,
Yeah,
and
we
we're
don't
just
care,
talking.
man.
Yeah.
We're just talking, having convos.
Yeah.
You know, giving each other ideas and discussing about the sport that we love, you know.
Well, I'm not gonna keep you any longer because you guys practice like for an hour and a half or 2 hours before that. I know you gotta have food. I know you probably
He's hungry. He needs to try the souvlaki.
Yeah, I need to.
The gyro.
try souvlaki.
Why don't you take it?
So I will let you get off here and then go chill a little bit. You are flying out tomorrow,
We're flying out tomorrow to Heraklion, yes.
AM.
AM.
Okay, so maybe text me, see if we do anything tonight, maybe
Perfect.
together. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And
Thank you,
I mean,
man.
I like you a lot. We met like an hour ago, and I already like you
know
like
the
a
vibe.
ton.
Who doesn't like Cooley?
He says, you know why he struggles why he doesn't like the Challenger so much is because he's liked by everyone, and he gets a bit of a professional, let's say. Check there, guys.
No, but yeah, it was good. Always a pleasure, you know, to be able to be talking about the sport. Always talking about my life, always talking about Africa, you know, because you haven't that many, you know, people need to know about you. You know, sometimes you get people that see you, they don't know what you're going through, they don't know about like what you're thinking. So it's good to be sharing some ideas, and so people have an idea about what's going on, about the sport, about, you know, everything about life, you know. So it's always grateful to be able to be here with you. You know, we met like what, 1 hour ago, you know, 2 hours ago. Always being able to be helping out, and I hope this podcast would go as far as you want, as far as it can go, you know. And always grateful to be here with you and Petros, you know. It's amazing. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. Keep embracing yourself, because you have a really, really good and happy personality. So keep being you.
Thank you, man.
Don't take anything that anyone says, haters or anything, obviously, to heart. You keep doing you, and I'm sure we'll see you and Petros Petrakis in Grand Slams.
We have more episodes to do with Christos.
Of course.
Well, we're gonna have an episode with Petros that we're gonna talk just about rackets, strings.
I'm out of here. Yeah, me too.
Τα λέμε την επόμενη Πέμπτη όπως πάντα. Καλή συνέχεια σε όλους.